Hello and welcome to the Peak Performance Protocol series. Today we're going to be looking at how to lower blood pressure naturally. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to take certain ingredients and we are going to make what is called the blood pressure regulator. Now let's see exactly what we have here. We have celery stalk. Now the celery is going to be wonderful. We're not only going to be using the stalks, but we're also going to be using the leaves, the small amount of leaves that we have up here. Now, let's talk about the celery, all right? We're talking about lowering blood pressure. So the celery has a substance, it's actually a vegetable hormone called glycoquine. Now, glycoquine, not glycogen, is a vegetable hormone which is a substance that's very similar in action to insulin, which lowers the blood sugar levels. Now, celery is also good and it's high in folates, it's high in vitamin C, but it also has fiber to it. Now, because of its high water intake, it acts as a diuretic, which allows you to detox and helps detox the system naturally. Now, of course, we have red beets. Now, when we talk about the red beets, you probably already know the red beets is loaded with nitrates, nitric oxide, high in folates. Now, what does it do? Red beets, they have nitric oxide, which allows the inner walls of your arteries to relax. Now, when the inner walls of your arteries are relaxed, it allows them to widen, and the more they widen, the more blood flow, and what happens next? Better blood flow, lower blood pressure. So far we have the celery stalks and the red beets, but now let's look at this right here, tomatoes. Now we don't really have to say a lot about tomatoes, but there's a certain chemical I want you to understand, phytochemicals. Now, whenever you see all of these different wonderful colors, now that's of course what should be on your plate every day, but when you see these wonderful, beautiful colors, you're going to notice that red, purple, green, orange, all of them consist of phytochemicals. And that is exactly what gives the pigment red, and it's good for your red blood cells. It's also high in folates. So when you're talking about eating tomatoes, the best way to eat a tomato is raw. That's the best way to eat the tomato. You're going to get all of the wonderful nutrients right in your system. Now, you can cook. Cooked tomatoes are very tasty. Just make sure that you don't add too much salt. But at the same time, when we're talking about juicing the tomato, we're going to do it today naturally using our juicer. However, the tomato juice, like everybody know about V8, we want to try our best to stay away from the V8s, okay, and all those other tomato juices we see in the store because they are highly processed, okay? So the more processed, the more salt, sodium intake, it's not going to be good for your system. Remember, we're trying to lower blood pressure and not raise it up. So I am going to put all of this together. Now, let me tell you the last ingredient. We're going to top it off with 1 tablespoon of chopped parsley. And I'm going to show you how to get all this done. So I got all of this laid out for you. However, the blood pressure regulator, it only calls for 1 large red beet, 2 large tomatoes, and 2 celery stalks. Now, I left this sticker up here for a reason. Now, when you go to the store, it does say organic on this sticker. However, a lot of times you're not going to see anything that says organic. You're just going to see a series of numbers. So what I want you to do is, I want you to look at the number, and if you look at this right here, it starts with the number 9, okay? So anything, fruit, vegetable that you see in the store that starts with the number 9 is organic, and that is what you want to pick up instead of the non-organic, okay? However, I'm still going to rinse it off like normal. Once we rinse it off, we're going to chop it up and we're going to get juicing. All right, so I went ahead and rinsed off everything. I went ahead and peeled off the skin of the red beets. Now the blood pressure regulator calls for 1 large red beet, but because these are fairly small, I'm gonna go ahead and use 2 small red beets, 2 large tomatoes, and 2 celery stalks. Now, in order for it to fit inside, of course, I have to cut it down. Now, let's go ahead and get started with cutting these down. Very simple to do, guys. Look at this right here. I already chopped that up right there. I'm just gonna chop this up very small slices. so it can fit in and out. Everybody, you may have a different mouth for your juicer. However, whichever it may be, just make sure that it's going to be cut where you can go ahead and fill them in like this, and then we're going to get started. Now, the best thing about this juicer right here, I believe this is a Nama. The best thing about the Nama juicer is, and I'm not promoting this of course, but the best thing about it is when it's extracted, the juice is extracted from the fruits and vegetables, it's dry. The pulp is very dry, so you're going to get a large amount of juice, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start that up. And just stuff it on in there. Stuff it on in there. It's going to do the job for you. Now, some juices are a little bit louder than others. Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. So I'm just going to go ahead and stuff that in there. All right, there you go. There you go. Cut those just fine. Just right. Now look at that juice starting to accumulate. Now, as you see, the pulp is very dry coming out, so you're really going to get a large amount of juice. Now, it all depends on the juicer. They all do the same thing, but sometimes the pulp is very juicy, which means that you're going to not get all the juice that you need. All right, let me turn this off, and I am going to go ahead and start my tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and start my tomatoes again. I'm going to cut them down in order for them to fit through the mouth. Through the mouth. Now, we already talked about the benefits. We already talked about the benefits of the blood pressure regulator. All right? And we talked about why it's important for the phytochemicals of the tomato, celery stalk, the red beets, the nitrates, everything works together for the good. All right, let's go ahead and put these in here, and I'm going to go ahead and start it up. And here we go. All right. Now watch when this comes out. Look at the beautiful color. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this right on out. Man, that looks wonderful. That looks good. I'll go ahead and reverse it a little bit so more of my juice comes out. There we go. There we go. Pulp is nice and dry. I could use the pulp for something else if I like. Or you can go ahead and put it in your compost. It's up to you. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my glass here. Put this in the glass. I am ready to taste this. It yields about a half a cup to a cup. All right. Now, because of the red beets, it does have sugar content to it. So, diabetics, half a cup, maybe once a day would be great. Would be wonderful. Let me see how this thing tastes. I love it, guys. I love it. You're going to taste the red beets. Now, guess what I forgot to do? You can also chop the parsley up, place it on top. Again, your body, your system is going to love it. You're going to feel refreshed. It's pure. It's natural. It's not loaded with any sodium. The sugar content, you can't hardly taste any sugar from the red beets. However, I do recommend again about a half a cup. I'm telling you, this is not hard to make. And if you can, organic, get the organic. Everyone, this is the blood pressure regulator, and we'll continue with this series, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.